Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Kushner, and today you're going to use the app Spark Video. You will log into it very similar to Spark Post, and if you have any trouble, you're welcome to use iMovie or Clips to complete this assignment. So we're going to be making a portfolio of our photography. You're going to click Spark Video, and when you log in, I'll just show you how it looks here. If I go to my account and I sign out, I'm going to click Continue with Google, and I'll click Continue. And then you should already have your login here from Google Drive. So you just click your 6-digit code at District 65, click Allow, and you might get a prompt that's asking in red if you want to subscribe and you don't. So here is important. You need to click Enterprise. And now we're in. So I'm going to go ahead and press the plus sign. And I'm going to say start with my photos. Now, all your camera photos will be on your camera roll. So right now I go to Recents. And what I'm trying to do here is I'm going to start off with my original photo. And then I'm going to click my edit. So you should have 12 slides plus a title. And then an outro at the very end, of credits. Okay? So again, I pick 1 here and 2. If you don't love all your photos and you want to pick like your best 4 or your best 5, that's fine too. But I think in total you should use at least 4 photos and 4 edits. So here, 1, 2, and then here's my original for the second one, and then the edit, and then I would keep going, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you keep picking the original and the edit. And you'll use that for all your photos. So we'll click Add. And what it's going to do is bring me into an editor. So here's my photos. And then it says Go to Editor. And I can click the plus sign on the right side to create a title. If I hold it down and drag it to the front, and then I click the plus, I can go to Text. And I want to give this a title. I'm going to call it my name. So Mrs. Kushner. And we do apostrophe S, which means it belongs to me. And because I am important, my name should be capitalized. And yours should too. So Mrs. Kushner's photography portfolio. And a portfolio is a collection of photos that you would present. Mrs. Kushner's photography portfolio. That looks great. I could change the size over here by clicking the minus or the plus and click Done. If I want a different look, I can go up to the top and click Theme. And then I could choose a different color just by clicking on here, and then it'll give me a bunch of choices. I could also change the theme, so you can play around and find the look you like best. And this is important for when you put in your pictures. Sometimes you can shrink your pictures, and so this will be like the background color. You don't want anything super flashy that doesn't match with your photos because it might look bad. So I might stick with something simple like a black background, but you can pick the one that you like and click Done. I'm going to go ahead to my first photo. And what I want to do, I can play with this. If I want to shrink it a little bit, I can. I can go to the plus here and I can add a caption. So if I'm on text right now, I might say this is Lake Michigan. So you can give yours a title if you want. And what you can do again is shrink it. If I take my finger, I can actually like drag it down or up. That's a little bit harder to do. You have to kind of have a light touch. The other thing that I could do is go up to layout on the top, and I could make that a caption. So the caption will automatically go to the bottom, and I can actually drag it lower if I want. There's one for split screen, so if you actually want to do some description, you could actually write about this photo right here if you want. What I'm going to suggest for you is that we're going to use our voice too, but if you don't feel comfortable using your voice, you could just make it writing. I'm going to click Done, and I actually like this original layout from full screen here. I'm going to see if I can drag my text to the way bottom, and it's a little bit big, so I'm going to shrink my picture. And I can play with the size a little bit. So that's how that looks, Lake Michigan. And what I might also want to do, because that was the assignment, is talk about how I edited. So for this photo, I was using the technique of leading lines. You can see the line of the path goes from the left to the right. You could see my horizontal line between the horizon and the water. So I might write here leading lines, and then we know which technique was used. And now I'm going to record a voiceover. So what I do is I press on the red microphone and I hold it down while I'm talking. In this picture, you see Lake Michigan, and I chose this for a spring photo because I often go to the lake with my family and enjoy looking at the beautiful view of the water. In this picture, you see I use leading lines. There's a path that leads our eye from the left to the right, kind of in a diagonal. And there's also the line that leads our eye from left to right, which is the horizon line between the sky and the water. So there, I've got a voiceover. I can click this play button to hear it. In this picture, you see Lake Michigan, and I chose this for a spring photo because I often go to the lake with my family, so you could listen to the whole thing. Now, there might be some music in the background, and I'll just illustrate that here. Mrs. Kushner's photography portfolio. If I play this bottom play button and hear the whole thing. Mrs. Kushner's photography portfolio. In this picture, you see Lake Michigan, and I can hear that there is some background music. So if I go up to music over here, I could pick any theme that I want. So you can find something catchy, play with the volume. You don't want to be too loud because you want to be able to hear your voice. All right, and you can pick the music you like. And then what you're going to do is for each photo, I would give it a similar technique so that it looks the same. You can decide what kind of layout that you want. So again, I think I just stuck with the full screen here, but I go to plus, I add text. Now for the second photo, you're going to talk about the edits, okay? So this is my Lake Michigan edit, or edited. And I can talk a little bit about the edits that I use. So in this photo, I used the accentuate filter, and Snapseed. Okay, and again, if that's too much writing for you, you could just talk about it, right? Some of you have a lot of edits, so that's a choice. I can click and just kind of drag it down to the bottom like before and make my photo a little bit smaller. Done. And then again, I'm going to record. In this photo, I edited in Snapseed in order to intensify the color. I found a filter called Accentuate, which made the blues of the sky a little bit more intense and made them come out a little bit more saturated. You'll notice that the blues of the lake are also more intense, as are the greens. And I like this because it reminds me of the brightness of the spring day. And again, I can listen, make sure I like it. In this photo, I edited in Snapseed. Okay, and then if you don't like your recording and you want to do it again, you can hold down the red button and just re-record right over top of what you had before. There's no back button. You can't get your other one back, so you have to make a good decision there. But your goal here is to have a slide for the original where you talk about the composition tools that you used, and a slide for the edit and talking about the edit that you created. And again, you're going to do this with at least 4 of your photos, so you should have 8 total, the before and the after. And you can do it with all 6 if you want, which would bring you to 12. You have a title like this. And then at the very end, there's a credits where you can actually give your name there. So you could say, I'm going to do by Mrs. Kushner. You'll put your name. And if you click here, the other thing that you can do, if you don't like the way that this looks, you can actually just add a slide there and you can hide the credits. So if you don't like how it looks like that, the other thing that you could do is hold this down. And that's something that you could do if you don't like anything. You can click on it, hold it down, and here I get a choice to hide the credits. I could press the plus at the end and just add text here that says by Mrs. Kushner. Okay, so those are some choices that you have. And if you don't like any of those music choices, you're welcome to make your own in GarageBand. Save it, like export it to your files. And then you have a choice under the music button down here at the top where it says choose from files. So you can get it that way as well. You can also do it to iTunes. So those are some choices you have. Enjoy, have fun. You're going to click the share button on the top right when you're done. and you're going to let the red line go all the way before you close. It will go to your camera roll, and once it's on your camera roll, you can share it to Google Classroom, and I am going to put it onto a Padlet so that we can all share our portfolios. Have fun and do a great job, everyone. And I'll just show you how it looks here once it exports. If I press my home button, so I'm going to wait till it's done. I can click OK, and if I press my home button and I go to my photos, it should be right there. There's Mrs. Kushner's portfolio, and I just turn that in.